Hello, beautiful learners. Hopefully, you're doing great, and I'm also good by the grace of Almighty. So, it's our day 32, and in this lesson, we are going to practice IELTS listening practice test 32 with answers and proper explanation for achieving band 9. So, before going to start our class, I just need to check out whether the sound is good or not.
You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. To read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Now turn to Section 1. Section 1. You will hear a customer phoning a company representative to complain about her new purchase. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5.
So here's another instruction for us. Let's read it. No more than 2 words and a number for each answer. Just keep it in your mind, okay? Now let's move on. So here we can see here's an example for us, electric. So the answer would be electric motorcycle, okay? And motorcycle, let's listen it.
You will see that there is an example that has been done for you. On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first.
Hello, is this the Dynamo Motorcycle Company?
Yes, it is. How can I help you?
Well, I have an instruction manual here for your new electric motorcycle, but I'm not satisfied with the purchase at all.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but don't worry. I'm sure we can sort this out.
The woman is talking about an electric motorcycle, so electric motorcycle has been written in the space. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Okay, so in the question number 1, let's highlight some keyword for this question. Model number, let's highlight this one, and now we're going to listen it for a number, or you can say for the model number. Okay, let's listen it.
Cycle Company?
Yes, it is. How can I help you?
Well, I have an instruction manual here for your new electric motorcycle, but I'm not satisfied with the purchase at all.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but don't worry. I'm sure we can sort this out. Before we do anything, can you tell me the model number?
At the top of the instruction manual here, it gives the model number RTY34.
TY34. Okay. Now, what?
So I hope you got the answer. She was saying RTY34. Okay, so that would be the answer. Okay, let's move on to the next one and highlight keyword for this question. Okay, the motorcycle should travel blah 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 kilometers. Maybe we're going to listen a number. Okay, let's listen it.
What's the nature of your complaint?
It's many things, actually. The biggest problem is that you say in your manual that the battery will take the motorcycle 30 kilometers.
That's right.
Well, it's lucky to take me 8.
Okay, so she was saying the biggest problem is that you say in your manual that the battery will take the motorcycle 30 kilometers. So 30 kilometers would be the answer. Okay, now let's listen it for question number 3. Where's 3? Okay, I got it. Now we should find some keyword for this question. Provided that the battery is charged for let's highlight for blah blah when. Okay, let's listen.
The battery is usually flat by then, often leaving me stuck at the side of the road.
Are you sure you're charging it correctly?
I'm fairly sure. I follow all the instructions and plug it in for a long time.
And are you sure you charge it for the required 3 hours?
I charge it until the charging light goes off.
So here's a saying that, and you sure you charge it for the required required 3 hours. So 3 would be the answer, or 3 hours. Okay, hours would be the answer. Now let's listen it for question number 4. When the gauge fails below. When fails below blah blah bold. Let's listen it.
Often that's 2 hours, so that should be enough. And there's a serious design fault with this motorcycle. When you're riding it, there's no meter to show you how much power is left, so you actually don't know when the machine is going to stop working.
There's a voltage gauge.
Yes, but that tells you nothing. The needle fluctuates about from 55 to 45, so whatever it says is meaningless.
According to the manual, you're meant to charge the battery if the needle falls under 50 volts.
But
under 50 volts, so 50 would be the answer. Hope you got the answer. Now let's move on to the next one. The battery wets blah blah. Okay, let's highlight these two words. The battery wets blah blah kg. Okay, let's listen it.
But even when you charge it, it can go below 45. As I said, the needle just waves all over the place. The result is that I'm always worried that the bike will leave me stranded in the middle of nowhere.
Well, I'm sorry about that.
Sure, but what are you going to do about it?
Unfortunately, we don't have a refund policy, but if you take the bike to one of our shops, our mechanics will look at it. Perhaps there's a problem that we can fix. The gauge, for example.
The other problem is the battery. I actually weighed it, and it's almost 6 kilograms. Yet you say in your manual that it weighs only 3. I can barely pick the thing up.
Okay, according to manual, the battery weight should be 3. Okay, so that's why the answer would be 3. But the lady was the motorbike. That lady was bought, and which weighs 8 kg, but we don't need to write that one. But we need to write the what manual says. So manual says it's a 3 kg, so 3 would be the answer. Okay, don't be confused. Now let's move on to the next one, and here we have another instruction for us. So let's read it. No more than 2 words and a number for each answer. Okay, just keep it in your mind. So we are allowed to write 2 words and or a number. Okay, we cannot write more than 3 words. Okay, now let's move on. Name Jesse blah blah. Oh no, name. Let's listen it.
Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10.
Hello?
Complaints department here. Apparently you have a complaint?
Yes, I do. Let me tell you all about...
It's all right. Our representative has already informed me about your problem. It's probably just a misunderstanding. I'm sure we can work something out. Right now, I need to take down some details.
All right.
Can I have your name, please?
Jessie Parkinson. That's Jessie and Parkinson, Parkinson. Parkinson.
All right.
So I hope you got the answer as she was saying Parkinson, and that's what I already wrote. Okay, that will be the answer. So you need to write as quickly as she was saying. Okay, so now we should go ahead. Okay, here it says type of complaint. Okay, let's listen it.
Should we list this complaint under parts, service, or performance?
Well, the meter isn't accurate at all, so that's parts, isn't it?
Yes, perhaps, but you do feel more generally that the motorcycle doesn't meet the operational standards as advertised. So it's probably better to tick performance here.
Can we tick both, parts and performance?
No, we can only tick one, so let's not call it parts. We'll go with performance.
Okay, they were talking a lot of things, part and performance, but at the end, the man was saying, "Let's not call it parts. We will go with performance." So the answer we should write is performance. That's okay. Bullshit. What it's not working. Performance. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. Address Nong 45. Let's listen it, blah blah.
Now, we may post some further forms and questionnaires to you, so would you mind giving me your address?
Certainly, it's 45 Melrose Road.
Melrose, M-E-L and Rose. Okay. Now, your phone number?
Okay, so the address would be Melrose Road. Okay, as you are spelling the first three word letter M-L Rose. So Melrose and Road. No. Road. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. Phone number. Okay, let's highlight and let's listen it.
Just use my mobile phone. That's 0928 982 453.
453. Okay, and if...
Okay, let's listen to one more time whether I wrote it correct or not.
53. That's 0928 982 453.
Okay, I wrote it right. Now let's move on to the next one. Best time to ring. Let's highlight and let's listen it.
453. Okay, and if we have any follow-up questions, what time is best for ringing you? Morning, afternoon, night time?
Well, I work as a secretary from 9 to 5, but I do get a lunch break which gives me some free time. This break used to be 12:30 to 1:30, but then it changed to an hour later. So it's best to ring me at 2 p.m. since the break now...
So she was saying it's best to ring me at 2 p.m. So 2 p.m. will be the answer, okay? p.m. Now that's all about part 1. Let's jump into part 2. And here we have another instruction to follow. No more than 2 words for each answer. Just keep it in your mind, okay? Okay, let's read it. What resulted from compulsory membership? What resulted from compulsory membership? And let's listen it.
Starts at 1:30.
All right. That's all for now.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 15.
Hello everyone. Now, Here you all are, new university students, and the first question you probably have is, what is a student union? Another question is, do I have to join? Well, regarding this second question, let me say that membership used to be compulsory in the past, but that did cause some controversy, particularly from students who wanted to remain free.
Okay, so the answer we should write is controversy. Controversy. So let me explain to you. As she was saying, well, regarding the second question, let me say the membership used to compulsory in the past, but that did cause some controversy. So here we just read this question like what result from compulsory membership, and in his talk, in her talk, she was saying, but that did cause some controversy. So the result is controversy. So controversy would be the answer. Now let's move on to the next one. The student union has many what? Union. Okay. Student union has what? Let's listen it.
Free and unaffiliated, and this university responded, so joining up is no longer compulsory. It's totally up to you, although I'll admit there is a fairly strong obligation to join, since all students benefit from the large variety of services that we offer. We do understand, however.
Okay, so she was saying student benefits from the large variety of services. So services would be the answer. Okay, as she was talking she was talking on the behalf of student union. So the answer we should write is services. Services. Okay. Now let's listen it for question number 13. Who controls many student unions? Let's highlight and let's listen it.
That many might be unwilling to join because of a supposed political slant to the union. Traditionally, student unions have been seen as being dominated by the left, and I suppose that...
Okay, dominated by left. So the left would be the answer, okay? So control and dominated are the synonym of each other. Don't be confused. So if you want to understand this meaning, you have to be advanced in your lexical resource. Okay, so it's really complicated for them, those who are in beginner. So I don't have anything to say regarding this, but I would say to learn lots of vocabularies and just increase your lexical resource. Okay, so as what I was saying, dominate and control are the same to each other. So yeah, in the question we can see that it says like control, but in her talk we heard that she was saying dominate. So, and she was saying that dominated by the left. So the left would be the answer. Okay, left. Now let's listen it for question number 14. When did orientation week begins? So orientation week begins when? Let's listen it.
That's still true to a large extent. Here, however, at this university, our union discourages such one-sided viewpoints, and students across the whole political spectrum are welcome. Thus, if you feel that you are a conservative type, in other words, leaning to the right, you are particularly urged to join to provide a more balanced representation. Now, let me move back to the first question. What are we? We are a formal organisation, but totally independent of the educational body. We make our own rules, rent our own premises, and organise ourselves as we wish. And our mission is basically to help you. For example, do you remember how you all arrived in late February to have an orientation week?
So it's tricky. I don't think it's tricky for me, but those who are beginner, it's tricky for them. So the answer would be late February. Okay, let me write it and then I will explain it to you. Okay, late February. Okay, February. Okay. As she was saying, for example, do you remember how you all arrived in late February to have an orientation week? So I hope you got the sentence. And here it says, when did the orientation week begin? And she was saying, do you remember how you all arrived in late February to have an orientation week? Okay, so I hope you got it right now. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. Where are the festivals held? Where? Let's listen it.
Gave you an invaluable induction into life here, right? Well, the student union organised all the festivities at the end of that. The barbecues, partying and drinking, and even the musical entertainment as well. We'll do that again on occasions, and as always, those events take place on the football ground.
So those events take place on the football ground. So football ground would be the answer. Ground. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. Choose 5 answers from the list and write the correct letter A to G next to the questions. Okay. Where can you make friendship? Let's, okay, I just need to zoom out it. Okay, now let's listen it. Where can you make friendship? To the bookshop or clubs and societies, the gym, the conference room, student union, newspaper, the union cafeteria, the union office. Okay, let's listen it.
Now listen and answer questions 16 to 20.
Now, let me tell you more about the student union and its basic functions. In general, there are 3: social, organisational, and representational. Let's look at the first one. Basically, the union provides many social outlets for you to relax and have a better life at university. If you go to our union office, you'll find a list of the many clubs and societies we have, where you can make many friends with people who share a common interest.
So the option we should select is clubs and societies. Okay, let me choose it and let me explain it. As she was saying, you will find a list of many clubs and societies we have where you can make friendship. So that's why clubs and societies will be the answer. Okay, now let's listen for question number 17. Okay, reduce your stress after class. Why can you reduce your stress after class? Let's listen it.
So, after class, Sit with them in the cafeteria and discuss whatever takes your fancy. We also maintain sporting facilities and even our own gym, allowing you to relieve some of that pressure and worry after a particularly hard session in the classroom.
Okay, so she's talking about gym. So gym, we can say it's in option C, so we should select C. Let me explain it to you. She was saying, after class, sit with them in the cafeteria. So after class, sit with them in cafeteria, but she didn't say about stress yet. Okay, and then let's listen it from afterwards. Okay, she was saying, so after class, sit with them in cafeteria and discuss whatever take you fancy. We also maintain supporting facilities and even our own gym, allowing you to receive to relieve some of the pressure and worry after a particular hard session in the classroom. So the last she was talking about gym. So gym would be the answer. Okay, now let's listen it for question number 18. Pay reduced prices. Okay, let's listen it.
And we have some small shops and other places where you can buy clothes and sporting gear. In other words, some retail outlets. And if you flash your student union card, you'll get up to 20% discount at the bookshop. But unfortunately,
So up to 20% discount at the bookshop. So bookshop, okay, we got it in option A. So option A would be the answer for question 18. Now let's listen it for question 19. Place personal notice. Okay, let's listen it.
there are no discounts at the union cafeteria. Sorry, no cheap cappuccinos. Finally, there's a student union newspaper, and you're welcome to contribute or put in advertisements if you're buying and selling goods or textbooks. You can also place notices of a more personal nature on the notice board of the union office itself.
Okay, so where is union office? Okay, union office is option G. So we should select option G for 19. Let me explain it to you. As she was saying, you can also place notice of a more personal nature on the notice board of the union office. So union office would be the answer. That's why. Okay, let's listen it for question number 20. Obtain legal advice. Okay, let's highlight and let's listen it.
All right, let's move on to our more serious functions, which are helping you get through life here, as well as representing you in times of trouble. Regarding the second issue, if you have a problem or a grievance, or if you feel under pressure or depressed for reasons both inside and outside the university, for example, perhaps a dispute with your landlord or the people in your local gym, then come to us. We have a range of counsellors and helpers, and even some lawyers, who you can meet in the conference room. So just sip a cup of tea.
So conference room would be the answer. Where is conference room? Okay, it's option D. Let me select option D. Okay, let me explain to you. As she was saying, and even some lawyers who you can meet in conference room. But before that, she was talking about for example, perhaps dispute with your landlord or other people in your local gym. Then come to us. We have a range of counselors and helpers, and even some lawyers who you can meet in the conference room. So then there in the conference room, as she was talking, the student will get the advice. Okay, so that's why the answer we should select is D. So that's all about part 2. Let's jump into part 3. Okay, let me check my lab, whether my lab is working correctly, because I'm facing trouble. I'm confused whether it's going correctly. Okay, I'm confident that it's working. Everything okay. Now, so the student in the program are studying. Students are studying. Let's hide it. Let's listen it.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
Okay, we've got to arrange this program.
Work experience. I believe quite strongly in this myself. Studies are often just too theoretical, and the best learning can be on site.
Sure, in principle, but you've got to find the right companies. For business students, it's so easy with all the commercial enterprises around here, but for our lot of engineering students, it's not so easy at all. Last year's education students were easy too. We just put them all into schools.
Okay, so the answer we should select is option B. Let me explain to you. The man was saying for business students it's so easy with all commercial enterprises around here, but for a lot of engineering students it's not so easy at all. So he was saying a lot of students, a lot of engineering students, so that's why the answer would be engineering. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. The company's main concern is accidents, wasting time, and the economic reasons. Recession. Okay, let's listen it.
Well, there are a few companies that will accept our students. Building sites are the main avenue to explore, but the trouble is that not many of these places want inexperienced learners around.
Why not?
Last year when I did this, I think these companies were worried about accidents. Now it's more a time issue. They just don't want to train people.
So she was saying now it's time issue. So time wasting would be the answer. Okay, as she was talking about time issue. So let me explain the whole sentence as she was saying. She was saying, I think these companies were worried about accident. Now it's more a time issue. So now it's more a time issue. So that's why it's as she was talking about the time, so wasting time would be the answer. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. These companies are demanding insurance trained students and say 1 month's work. Okay, companies are demanding. Let's listen it.
But these people work for free.
But training takes time, and in the economic recession, few companies want their personnel diverted for such purposes. But I did find some companies, enough for us at least, but they all insist on one thing.
Minimum work time of 1 month, right?
No, that the students are appropriately insured. Remember, these are built.
So the man was saying a minimum work time of 1 month, right? But the lady was saying no, the students are appropriately insured. Okay, so that's why the answer would be insurance, as she was talking about. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. The university can University can just pay for the program, easily pay for the program, not pay for the program. Let's listen it.
Building sites, and there are quite a few hazards there, and we're putting untrained students, not trained students, right amongst them. So these companies want financial coverage in case of accidents.
Gee, is that going to be expensive?
Yes, I'm afraid so, since we live in quite a litigious society. Consequently, insurance rates are sky high, almost unaffordable.
I see. Can our budget meet this? Last year we couldn't pay for the program.
This year we can, since we have fewer students to deal with, but we'll nevertheless have to cut corners in certain areas.
So she's saying, well, we'll nevertheless have to cut commerce in the certain area. So the option we should select is option A, just pay for the program. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. The university will remove the students' payment, travel allowance, and competition bonds. Okay, let's listen. University will remove. Let's hide it and let's listen it.
I never like it when that happens.
Neither do I.
In which areas do we need to economise?
Well, the payment to students is not going to change. After all, they won't do this work unless they can get some money. We'll also continue to subsidise their travel as we did last year.
Last year we gave them a completion bonus too. It was a big success. It made them go through the whole month.
But not this year. We'll impress upon the students that possible failure could result if they don't finish the whole term.
So the answer we should select is option C, cause let me explain to you. The man was saying last year we gave them a competition bonus to listen it carefully. He was talking about a competition bonus. Okay, so he was saying last year we gave them a competition bonus to. It was big success, made them go through the whole month. But the lady was saying, but not this year. So that means it's going to be reduced. So as they were talking about competition bonds and which was not going to be in this year, so that's why that means competition bonds is going to be removed. Okay, that's why the answer will be option C. Let's move on to the next one. Question number 26. Okay, here's another instruction for us. No more than 2 words or 2 words enter number for each answer. Okay, just keep it in your mind. Now I'm afraid to highlight keyword for this box because it's whenever I go to highlight keyword in the box, it's like it's not it doesn't work properly. Sometimes it's mislead me to answer. Okay, so in this option I'm not going to highlight the keywords, but I'm going to explaining everything. Okay, don't be worried. Here we can see noun of student. Okay, White detailers, and here we can see companies names. These are companies names. Okay, let's listen it for question number 26.
Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
The most important issue for me about this work experience program is which companies are getting involved, and that was your job. What companies did you find?
Right, 4 companies are prepared to help out. Hepplewhite Distilleries, AJ & Sons Engineering, Johnson Demolition, and Sansoni Security.
How many students can they take?
Hepplewhite can take 5, no 6.
6.
Sorry, 5. It's limited at the moment by the winter, since beer drinking is lower around this time. As for AJ and Sons, that would...
Okay, we are out of time. Let me re-click each one. So, don't be confused as she is saying 5, no 6, no 6, and again lastly she's saying no. Sorry, it's 5. So lastly she said it would be 5. So the answer we should write is 5. Okay, just give me a few sec. I need to, as we are out of time, I need to re-click each option one more time. Okay. It was B. I need to select B. It was C. I need to select C. It was A. Need to select A. It was G. I need to select G. It was D. I need to select D. Okay. I'm almost done. Okay, now let's listen for question number 27. Okay, let's listen it. Now we are going to listen it for date August starting. Let's listen it for, as the other column belongs 15th August, 1st August, 4th August. Okay, let's listen a number, a date to be more exact. Okay, let's listen it.
You will hear a number of different recordings.
Oh no.
Now listen and answer questions
Involved, and that was your job.
Hepplewhite Distilleries and Sansoni Security. Oh, 6.
6.
Sorry, 5. It's limited at the moment by the winter, since beer drinking is lower around this time. As for AJ and Sons, that would be 7.
Last year it was 17.
Not this year, I'm afraid. The other two places are 6 and 6, which makes up everyone, 24 of them.
Right. What about starting dates?
That's the problem. They cannot all start and finish on the same date, which makes this a little hard to dovetail with the academic semester. Hepplewhite can accept its cohort around August 15th. AJ are a little later, starting 5 days later, in fact.
The 20th.
Actually, the 21st is what they said.
And the other two?
The demolition company can start...
Okay, so it's really easy to get the answer, because she was saying August 15th, and she was saying AJ are a little later, starting 5 days later. So 5 days later means 15th, 5 days after 15th. From 15th, 5 days later is like to be 20, but she was saying, the man was saying at the 20th, and the lady was saying actually the 21st. Okay, so 21st would be the answer. Now let's listen for question number 27. Okay, now we are going to listen for maybe the number of dates. Okay, duration. Okay, I got it. Duration for each question for 29 and 30. Let's listen it.
Earlier, the start of the month, the 1st, and the security firm will start 3 days later on the 4th.
Okay, that sounds good. And will all our students work for 1 month?
Well, remember, it doesn't have to be a full month, but just long enough to meet syllabus requirements.
So, how long is Hepplewhite going to use these students?
They said 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks if we want it.
We want it. Tell them the longer option is necessary.
Sure.
So she was saying they said that 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks if we want. So 4 weeks would be the answer. Okay, now let's listen for question number 29 and 30.
I think they'll accept that. The students will probably buy some of their product, which will make the owners happy. As for the engineering company, it's giving 24 days.
That's fine. And the demolition company?
They're saying 2 weeks, 14 days.
Impossible.
2 weeks and 14 days. Okay, and 14 days.
The students can't complete their projects in such a short time. You'll have to be stronger. Tell them minimum 18 days.
Okay, I'm sorry, 18 days would be the answer because it was saying impossible. The student cannot. At the first lady was saying they are saying 2 weeks, 14 days, and the man was saying impossible. The student cannot complete their project in such a short time. You will have to be stronger. Tell them minimum 18 days. So 18 days would be the answer. Okay. Now let's listen for question number 30 for Sensoni security. Let's listen it.
All right. The owner seems reasonable. He'll probably accommodate us if I throw in a few incentives. That leaves the security company, which is offering...
Let me guess. 3 weeks, 21 days.
Almost 22.
Ha! I was close with my guess of 21.
Okay, the man was saying, let me guess, as he was saying, 3 weeks, 21 days. And the lady was saying almost 22. So 22 days would be the answer. And the man was saying, I was close to my guess. Okay. Now that's all about part 3, and let's jump into part 4. Okay, choose the correct letter A, B, or C. Okay, T-Rex fossil are, let's highlight, quite plentiful, mostly complete, liked by museums. Okay, let's listen it.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 33.
The foremost exhibition in any great natural history museum is almost invariably a skeleton of a large dinosaur, often the famous Tyrannosaurus rex, or T-Rex as it's usually known.
So, as he was saying, the foremost exhibition in any great natural history museum is almost invariably a skeleton of a large dinosaur. So T-Rex fossils are liked by museum. Okay. Now let's listen for question number 32. Fossils are usually torn to pieces, mostly from former sea bottoms, easily found. Let's listen it.
Thus, one would think that these skeletons are plentiful, one for each museum, and more to spare in the basement. Well, here's an interesting fact. Almost every one of those T-Rex skeletons are just copies of the original fossils, and we only have 20 sets of these in the whole world. And the most complete is still missing 1/5 of its bones, and the rest are missing a lot more. And given that these dinosaurs once numbered in the thousands and existed on this earth for perhaps 3 million years, you can realize an obvious fact. Fossilization is actually an extremely rare occurrence. Fossilization can only occur when, after an animal dies, it is buried in soft mud or silt relatively quickly, before the body completely rots or is torn to pieces by scavengers. Given this fact, the overwhelming majority of fossils are in marine sediment, where former marine life sank to the...
Okay, so mostly from former sea bottoms would be the answer. Okay, as here's saying, given this fact, the overwhelming majority fossils are in marine uh, sediment. So marine sediments, it's like similar to sea bottom. Okay, so that's why the answer would be mostly from former sea bottom. Okay, don't be confused. It's a little bit advanced, but you have to be confident and practice a lot of time. Okay, now let's listen and focus on the 33 land based fossils. Number more than sea based ones were formed near water courses have given much information. Let's listen.
The sea bottom, where sediment was being continually deposited. This means that we have a fairly good idea of the life in Earth's ancient oceans, but a much sketchier view of the land-based life forms. Fossilization on land needs water and mud, meaning that it is most often near ancient river sites and lakes. But
Okay, she here's a saying, meaning that it's most often near ancient river sites and lakes. So, well, formed near water courses will be the answer. So, water courses and ancient river sites and lakes are the similar. They have a good connection. Okay, so that's what the answer would be option B. But I believe uh, it's really complex to understand. But you have to listen it, and you have to what should I say? You have to listen it more and more time. Then you will got it. Okay. Now let's listen for question number 34 to 40. Here's another instruction for us to follow. No more than 2 words for each answer. Okay. 3 criteria for fossilization. Okay. Hard body first, geographical dispersion, log existence. Okay, now we are going to listen it for question 34. Shells, planets, bones, and blah blah. Let's listen it.
it is still so rare that there are, in fact, large stretches of geological time about which we don't quite know what was happening at all.
Before you hear the rest of the lecture, you have some time to look at questions 30. Now listen and answer questions 34 to 40.
So, given that fossilization is so rare, the natural question is, what can increase its odds? Well, fossilization mostly occurs with organisms which meet 3 basic criteria. 1, they must have hard body parts, for example, shells, plates, bones, and teeth.
And bones and teeth. So teeth would be the answer. Okay. Teeth would be the answer. Okay, now let's listen for question number 35. Rises the blah blah chance of fossilization. Let's highlight it and let's listen it.
Unfortunately, the soft parts just rot away far too quickly to be fossilized. And I say unfortunately because it is often the soft fleshy features that most interest us. An elephant's trunk, for example, would not fossilize, and from the skeleton alone, we would never know the trunk was there. The second criterion for more likely fossilization is that the organism in question must have existed in considerable numbers and be spread over a wide geographical range. This simply increases the statistical probability that one of them will one day be fossil.
So statistical statistical chance. So it's also tricky to get the answer. Let me explain here. Okay, here in question it says rise the statistical chances of fossilization, but he was saying this simply increases. So increases and rises are the same word. And okay, let me explain the more. And he was saying this simply increases the statistical possibilities. So possibilities and chances are the synonym of each other. Okay, possibilities that one of them. Okay, so it's you have to be good at your lexical resource. Okay, if you would like to obtain a very good band score, so obviously you must need to be good at vocabulary. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Bodies composed of, let's highlight, composed of blah blah. Let's listen it.
And hopefully found. Finally, and by the same logic, the species needs to have existed on the Earth for a long time, and the longer, the better. So, these are the three main criteria, but there are others. Being a large size, for example, helps us to notice and discover them as fossils more easily, and being a marine organism, as mentioned, helps also. Trilobites, a strange sort of ancient crab, are a perfect example. Their body structure was one of hard plates. They existed over
He was saying their body structure was one of hard plates. So hard plates would be the answer. Okay, hard plates. Okay, let me explain it to you in detail. Here it says body composed of hard plates. Here look at this word body composed of, but he was saying their body structure was, so body structure and bodies composed of are the, what should I say, they have a good connection of each other. Okay, so you need, again I'm going to say it, you need to be good at your vocabulary. Okay, so you need to know a lot of vocabulary. Now let's move on to the next one. Question 37. Grew to blah blah. Let's listen to it.
virtually the whole world of their time and over a huge span of geological history, over 250 million years in fact, one of the longest ranges of any creature ever. Added to this, some species could grow to relatively large sizes, and they lived in
Grow to large sizes. So large sizes. The answer. Okay. Sorry. Oh no. Sorry. Sizes. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. Question number 38. These fossils are, let's listen it.
the sea. Perfect. These creatures meet all the criteria, and as a result, museums all over the world are spilling over with trilobite fossils of all shapes and sizes. As far as fossils go, they are common. So
They are common. So common would be the answer. Common would be the answer, as he was talking about fossils. So at the last he was saying all shapes and size, as far as fossils go, they are common. So common would be the answer. Okay, now let's listen. Question number 39. Large size allows archaeologists to their fossils more effortlessly. Okay, let's listen it.
Let's think about T-Rex once again. It too basically meets all the criteria that we mentioned. It has hard parts, being the bones, had some dispersion, and had been around for a long time, although it cannot compare to trilobites in this respect. However, it does have one important advantage over trilobites. It is large, very large, which means we can discover it far more easily than many other fossils.
So discover would be the answer, okay? Discover would be the answer, as he was saying. It does have one important advantage over trilobites. It is large, very large, which means we can discover far more easily. So far more easily and more effortlessly would be the same meaning. Okay, that's why. So I'm going to again say it's all about you need to be good at vocabularies. Okay, now let's listen for question number 40 and the last one. People are blah blah. Why this? Let's listen it.
And here's another advantage. Dinosaur hunters are a dedicated and fanatical breed, continually at work in all the likely sites of the world. Basically, us human beings are fascinated by these creatures.
Us human beings are fascinated by this. So fascinated with the answer. Let's see. Fascinated. So that's all about our today's lesson. Let's submit it and let's check how much we obtained. Okay. Okay, we got 9 out of 9 and we are right. 40 question out of 40. And congratulations to you all that you are watching my classes and enjoying it. So I hope I will see you in the next class with another lessons, and see you in the next class. Bye.